I am working on a bunch of stuff. It's been kind of one of those mornings where I did a bunch of things and it didn't work. So I got I got trout toast from Bevco, which is a nice little spot in Tacoma Park. And then, of course, the giant. The giant is here. Ah, just kind of one of those days, man. Trying to get everything done. Suddenly, the stream wasn't available. What are you guys doing? The producers. They're always busy, you know? As producers do. I've been trying so much to try and get all this done. And it's been kind of difficult, honestly, to just kind of do this. I'm still trying to work out all the lefts and rights of all of this. So give me a moment, if you will. I know people don't like that I'm trying to set things up while I'm doing this, but the truth is, like, we are where we are with this. So it is how it is. I mostly am just trying to. Good morning. Very cool person. Give me a sec. This is SideQuest Sam. What's up? I'm a buddy. So, trout toast. Very delicious. Very nice. I was worried the producers, because we're in a small enclosed space, we're going to screw around and try and mess with my food. They have so far, but we're fighting, so it's fine. Someone asked me what the name of this was, and I thought about it, and I was like, I don't honestly remember how we came up with the name. The move is going pretty well. We've still got stuff we got to put in storage, but for the most part, this is nice. Like, I've set up the studio a little better now, so got all these things and stuff going, but it's good. And I got a little blocker, little sad boy of our guy who waves, who died in active duty via a child going, I want to pull the arm, and then he pulled it right off. So it is what it is, as we do. But yeah, all is well. All is well. I have been trying my very best to just get everything going, and it's been interesting, to say the least. It's been very interesting. I'm still trying to kind of figure out how everything works here. It's very kind of difficult to live stream everything while it's going on, and the controls are kind of funky and weird, and for some reason nothing seems to kind of work in the exact way that it worked before, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does. So for today, I'm gonna eat some food, I'm gonna talk, show you some more random art stuff, because I know you guys like that. I appreciate everybody who's been supportive of the channel. It means a lot to me. It is difficult sometimes to get all this organized, but I started today with this big long walk for about 35 or so minutes to the. Thank you so much. I'm glad. I'm really happy to hear that. That makes me feel really good. I really love being able to, like, make stuff and it just be, I don't know, appreciated. So thank you. My art loves you back. It told me. So there you go. I'm working on a piece right now. Don't look at my armpits. I'm working on a piece right now. It's kind of like this. I'm not sure what else I'm going to do with it, but I am getting it going, as it were. Of course, the producers are busy trying to literally fight each other right now. No fighting. Come on, guys. We're doing the stream. You know how this goes. Did a 5-year-old draw that? I don't know. I picked it up at your mom's house, and they didn't seem to have a problem with it. See how that works? See? I can do this too, you know. I'm not above roasting you back. I just try and be nice about it. But I can do this too. I can easily troll you as much as you control me, so it's not a problem. And I like to think I'm probably a little more devious and dastardly than you might be. So that's that's always fun. But there we go. So yeah, it's just kind of getting everything going and moving and doing everything. It's been fun. I'm really enjoying all of this, but there's a certain aspect of like trying to catch up with everything that I was doing beforehand. So, yeah. I hope you guys had a good breakfast. I hope you ate breakfast. That would be really nice. I hope you're not just watching me going, you know what? I should really eat something. Well, maybe that might be good though. Maybe that might be good. I still plan on doing the spring gallery trip with some of you. So if you're in the DMV area and you want to go on a gallery crawl with me through the museums, not really a gallery crawl. It's midnight where you are, Sam? That's crazy. Wow. That's fun. Mmm. That's pretty good, actually. What I want to do, I was talking to my in-laws, was I want to do a menu that I can kind of pick a bunch of random things from. I have all these cookbooks that I've never really kind of I have these cookbooks where I've never really tried to make like a menu on all the things I can do for the show. So I'm thinking is I'm probably gonna like post a menu. Or make a menu and then post a menu about all the things. Hey, what are you crying for, bud? Just yelling. Tom Tom. Where are you going? What's up? Just yelling. It's got a lot to say, I guess. There's a very large squirrel that lives in a tree outside of the studio. And he has been enamored with this guy for at least a little while. Since we moved. The old studio had a big window, but it wasn't near anything. You know what I mean? Like, we were above like a big lobby for the condo. So we didn't have like a backyard per se in which to do all this. So it's a little different now. I mean, as expected, he's not handling it the same way. But they are running around acting crazy, being as they are. Weird little producers. Behaving in the silly fashion in which they carry themselves. Mostly, this week, we got all our holiday shopping done, which is nice. So, I'm trying to do that and get everything going, but there's that whole motivation of trying to wrap things now that you have things, which is always difficult. And then I need to travel out and grab some stuff because I have to drop off some things for a couple of my friends who are wonderful people who, you know, I love them, and I want to show them that I thought of them. It's simple, but it's how you live your life, you know. I know it's like 2 days from Christmas for those who celebrate. I have kind of an eclectic feeling towards it, where I've grown up mostly very kind of open minded about a lot of things. And so I exchange gifts with people, but I don't really celebrate any of the other stuff. It's more just kind of like a nice time to be with the people you love. So we do that. I mostly grew up following a lot of like lax Buddhist Hindu stuff. So it's not the same, you know? Sam gets it. Same. I do Xmas, but I don't do religious. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of a nice thing to do for people. It's a nice day to be like, hey, I appreciate you. I thought of you. I got you something. I made you something. Here they have a holiday referred to as Kwanzaa that starts on the 26th this year. And Kwanzaa is interesting because it is a holiday that was created for African Americans to kind of stay in touch with their roots, so to speak. So there's a lot of like drums and music and storytelling, and people just make handmade gifts. And I've always loved the idea of like you come together, you celebrate whatever you're celebrating with dancing and music and food. That sounds amazing. And then you just, you know, you make something small for someone with your hands. And that's just so nice and cool and nice. Um, you know, I realize like the connotation of it, like not everybody loves because, you know, they feel how they feel about it. But I like the concept behind it. The concept is very beautiful. I've seen it done very beautifully. I've also seen it done almost kind of in a pushy way that people don't love. So you're kind of in a weird spot with a lot of these things. But I always think like the interesting thing is like when you look at like the Krampus and stuff like that. Like it's such a cool idea in so many ways. My dad. Let me see. Psycho Sam says my dad kept going on about a quilt someone made, a quiet. I love how I can't read. A quilt someone made for somebody, for him, for an hour last week. People really love when something is made by hand. Made me think. Yeah, honestly, it's it's always interesting when you're a painter too, or an artist in any form, because like you do make a lot of stuff for people, but there's always that kind of that aspect of like, are you worried people are gonna think like you're cheap because you didn't buy them something? I always think the interesting thing would be, I would rather you wear a scarf that someone makes you, or a shirt someone designs for you, or a small painting someone magnets onto their fridge or something, or earrings, or whatever, or food, even. I guess as time goes by, I feel in a lot of ways like I don't need more stuff as much as I guess I'm on my face. Um, as much as I need more time with people, and that's corny, but it's still true. there's so much that I enjoy that is blatantly just heartfelt gifts as opposed to deep pockets. I've been following this creator on, I think they're on Instagram, and they're from Finland, and they talk about, or I think there's one from Finland, there's one from Sweden, and they talk about saunas and just how intricate and important. Hi, Mochi. How intricate and important. Come here, producer Moch. So this is one of them that's running around right now. Hi, baby. Want to say hi? No. For yourself. And it's just interesting how like the social aspects of it are so kind of phenomenal on like the like here in Maryland we do so much but we don't always do things together, and it's interesting to see like a culture of people who do things together. Like individuality is pushed so hard here that there's very little community programs, so to speak. Programs aren't the right word. There's very little community kind of movement, if you will. So we're always trying to kind of figure out ways that we can work together and be together and do things. And it becomes difficult just because, like, time, time is so hard to kind of quantify in a lot of ways. Like, I always talk to people and I go, the weirdest thing I've ever noticed about my life is that I'm seeing now, like, wealth. I'm equating wealth now more with the time I have than the money I have. If that makes any sense. So I did promise you a tour of a book, and so we're gonna do this one today. Joink. Let me see. I'm trying to remember what that guy's name is. I don't remember that guy's name. Maybe not this one. This one's got some spicy art in it, so we're not gonna do that. So we'll do this one. This one is very old. This is when I was a 5-year-old, basically. Yeah. Brother Netararu, how are you, my friend? And so a lot of these are in Portuguese. So os vemos são lixos. And I just kind of started going on these like interesting little kind of vintage. Yes, very vintage. But I think like a lot of that stuff's really important. Like you go to museums and you see stuff, and a lot of times the stuff that ends up in museums is not necessarily the stuff that artists really thought of in the ways they thought of. Like when I did this, my plan was to do a painting and then make like a stand that was a bunch of arms and hands that would be holding it up as like a display for a show. I remember that quite vividly, actually. And obviously, it's not what I went with my, so far, it's not what I've gone with as far as my hand tattoos and stuff. But I always tried to do that. Tom, stop chasing Mochi. And it was just like these little interesting kind of plans. Thank you. I like the idea also. I've got all these plans on stuff I want to do. I've got these saws and wood and all this stuff that I want to do. And I was watching a lot of old French space sci-fi movies. And so I started working on kind of like laser blasters and stuff like that I wanted to do. I used to do these like woodcuts. When I first met my wife and we started dating, I did not have a lot of money. I still don't have a lot of money. But I had way less money than I have now. And in that, we would give each other like gifts for birthdays and Christmas and all these other anniversaries and stuff. And I would hand make a lot of stuff. because I just didn't have the ability to buy all these expensive things, and so I just started making. I paint stuff and then cut it out in wood. You see me like on the steps with like a hacksaw, just like cutting these intricate shapes or whatever. And I could have just like borrowed a friend's like miter saw to cut everything, but I really wanted to like really show that I was in love, and so I made domos for her, and I made anatomical hearts and all these things. Like as we're moving and we're grabbing all these pieces, I'm finding all these old things that I made for her, and it's just it's very sweet, you know. It's just sweet. And then my leg tattoo that I have on the back of my calf. I guess I could show you. It's kind of interesting. Some weird space gorillas. So these are called safubis. Safubis are these little rubber figurines that people make collectibles in Japan, and I became deeply in love with them. Now my leg is rather dry and ashy, so don't judge me, but I will show you my leg tattoo and how it turned out. So this is that guy right there. Don't look at my butt. Don't look at my butt. Yeah. So, and then my crazy knee tattoo and all that stuff. When it's warmer outside, you'll probably see more of them because I don't wear a lot of clothes when I don't have to. Uh, yes, I backed it up for you. You're welcome. Um, yeah, I had this like. So there's these painter brothers called Ujimos. Ujimos are these graffiti artists, and that's OS space and then Zimos, but it's GOSES, I think is what it is. Los Gimos, I think that's how it's spelled. But they do a lot of things with eyes and kind of character work, and also Cameron Rosette is another painter that I really loved, and he does a lot of eyes. And so I kind of found myself working on all these things. I was taking this class where you were supposed to like work on this comic strip character that you could kind of do a whole series on. And so I took my mask and I did myself, as you do. And I just wanted to kind of come up with this idea of, and this is que merda, which is oh shit. So there's your foreign language lesson. There's so many like random ones in here. Like I'm looking at these for the first time for a long time. But I think this is important though. I think you need to kind of collect and keep artwork that you did throughout the years, because this has got to be, when I look at this paper, like it's got kind of like that yellow tint to it. This has got to be over 10 years old easily. And I just started kind of making all this artwork, and it's fun to kind of go back to it and really get. I'm not gonna go through this whole book with you because there's a lot of that's a lot of stuff. Like that's kind of crazy, but there was a bunch of things that I did. Macbeth is another painter that I really love, and he did a lot of kind of like illustrations that have a lot of. He's a French painter. Illustrations that have a lot of like tattoo and like butcher shop art, and I kind of became fascinated with that. And also in the process of doing so, I made this guy. Mm-hmm. Oh, haha! I don't know which way is up or down. Yeah. And I've always had this guy with me for many, many, many moves, but it's kind of those things. Like you find ways to create and paint and do things and etc. It was funny whenever I draw this one. People go, "What is that? Prince? Is that Prince?" It's like it's not Prince. And it's stuff like that. Like I loved doing all these. Now, for those who have loved my work throughout the years and want to see my regular work that I typically do, other than the painting that I'm currently working on. Um, I've got a few of those that I can show you because everything's close, so I don't have to really reach very far to find it. So give me a second, and we'll grab a couple of these guys. So a little more kind of adapted style as it goes. You know what I mean? Like I just kind of came together and made things in the style in which I paint. Now, I really loved this one. I've always been I grew up playing dominoes with my uncles and stuff, and so I did a lot of those. Um, Little kind of game room, parlor, table art type of stuff. And then I believe strongly in the idea of when you feel blocked, just make abstract paintings. Just go. Take all that energy and all that focus and your colors and your textures and just what your mind wants and just go with it. Like you don't have to go crazy trying to find the next best artwork you'll ever make in your whole lives. And then you get back to it at some point in time. You get back to what you want to do. I like to believe that with art, you need to understand that you don't have to make anyone else's version of what art is. Like you will on occasion, but you don't have to. And so you just have to kind of figure out what you want to make that day, or that week, or that month, or whatever. Because it's all related, it's all functional, it's all art and art for art's sake type of thing. So I always try and make sure that when I make art that I have these amazing artists surrounding me. A friend of mine made this. Her name is MJ Lindo. MJ is an incredible muralist and painter. And so I also collect art from other artists. So if you have any great artists that you can think of, I happily will get in on that probably also. I just think it's really important. Like you have to make art that makes you surround yourself with art that is beautiful that makes you feel happy. You know? There's nothing wrong with being inspired by other people. I think people have this misconception about artwork where it's like it's got to be original, it's got to be completely coming out of nowhere and be based on nothing and come out of whatever, and it's like no, you're going to be inspired by other artists and music and movies and books and people. I remember Zoe Deschanel used to wear these really kind of flashy coats back in the day, and that was always really kind of brilliant to me. And so I started kind of making artwork, making patches that I would put on my clothes that were like these big, like massive things, and I just loved it. It was great. So, mm. I love you, Gladys. I think we've probably come to almost the end. That's why I post modern artists who merge several styles together and create something new. Yes, yes, very much so. So, as a heads up, I definitely banged the crap out of my elbow sometime this year. So I have a bit of pain going on here. So if you see me doing this, I'm okay. I'm just old. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So I don't know what else we can talk about. If you have anything you want to say before we wrap all this up, we're welcome to do that. I love you very much, Galeras. I'm gonna let all this upload and share it out and do all this stuff and write up some stuff and do these things today. So my big plans are I gotta go to the bank, which not as fun. I gotta go to Ralph Steadman Art. I'm trying to remember Ralph Steadman. Um, I believe I liked Ralph Steadman's art. Pull this up. It's the joy of having a computer at hand. Ralph Steadman. Let us see. I believe I was a fan of Ralph Steadman. Ralph Stead. Oh yeah, I remember Ralph Steadman. Okay. Yeah. Ralph Steadman. Okay, so Ralph Steadman. For those who don't know, Ralph Steadman did some of the art that is for um, this a beer company in the U.S. And yeah, no, I actually did like Ralph Steadman. So when I did the artwork for Four Dogs Brewery in Easton, Maryland, I looked at Ralph Steadman actually originally to kind of come up with some concepts of the artwork for that. And so it was definitely one of those things that came into play. Let me pull up something. I know I have some old work on my phone that was a part that was kind of inspired by that. So when I did some of the work for Four Dogs, this is kind of what I worked on. And Ralph Steadman was actually a really big part of it. Actually, Ralph Steadman was one of those artists that kind of came into play. Thank you. I don't know if you can see that. So if you go to Four Dogs Brewery, you can see some of that work on there. I don't know if this is coming out right. I don't know if this is easy to see or not. It looks like it's got like a weird glare to it. But yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. I thought Ralph Steadman was honestly probably one of the more interesting people making artwork because he I don't know, there's something fearless about that. There's something fearless and uncontrolled about art like that. Like it's very it reminds me of Basquiat. I say Basquiat, but not everybody knows who Basquiat is. So this is Jean-Michel Basquiat. And cool seeing your latest tag in town. Nice sharing the space with you. I will say it was probably me, but I won't confirm or deny that it was. And he just had all this kind of cool artwork. I have a lot of art books. I find them kind of soothing to some Basquiat work. Huge work the man did. Um, and so it was just kind of interesting to see everything, you know? So, yeah. Now, so where you saw me when you passed me on your bike is the neighborhood that I moved into. So we're gonna have to do some bike rides or something eventually. You are probably a little more tough than the rest of the people I know because it's like 20 degrees and you're still in a hoodie with a raincoat on your bike just chucking through it and like I don't know that that I'm that much of a badass to be completely honest. In my mind I'd like to think that I could be, but in reality, I get cold, man. I get cold. It's always kind of funny how that works out. Like the chilliness is a very real situation. So cool and close by, exactly. Um, yeah. So I think we're done. I love you very much. I hope you're well. We've done this for about 35 minutes, and I know eventually I just ramble. So I love you very much. I hope you're well. Clarence and I say enjoy. Have a good week. Take care. Um, trying to think. A cool way to say goodbye in one of the many languages that my family comes from would be Boa tarde. So boa tarde means good night. Take care. Painter out. Ciao. Bye.